From the 11 practice, we could learn to calculate the percentage of a chemical reaction. We have to get the limited reagent, and we did it writing the balance chemical equation. Next, we divide the moles of each reactant with its stoichiometric coefficient, and the one with the lowest ratio is your limited reagent. We could appreciate substances mixes that we could notice that they react different and they get different colors. We could see a yellow color, blue and red. We could do a filtration, and we use the microscope that we did it before. It was interesting that we have to did the table before to have the good reactions. In this practice were very interesting the moles of the substances. In this practice was very interesting that we have to get the limited reactant to have better results. And this practice was a little bit large. It was a little bit bored, but not at all.
In this practice, we prepare dioxycarbonate. We mix in a syringe 0.22 grams of sodium hydroxycarbonate and 5 milliliters of acetic acid. Then we shake the syringe and produce the gas.
Here we can see how the fire extinguished as a consequence of the lack of oxygen in the carbon dioxide.
In a test tube with 3 milliliters of water with lime, we add 10 milliliters of dioxide carbonate and then mix. Then we could observe that in the bottom of the test tube they precipitate the solid, and in the top of the test tube there are the liquid part.
After that, in another test tube, we add 2 drops of universal indicator and pH 8, and then we added the CO2. After a while, we could see how the color blue turned into a green, and teacher told us that if we continued adding CO2, it will turn red eventually.
We made a mixture of oxygen and nitrogen gas, and to prove the mixture was correct, it should be very flammable. So as it should be very flammable, we put it inside a bottle of soap and burn it. And it did burn very quickly as soon as the fire touched it. Then we made only oxygen, and to prove it, we blow it into the ashes of a burnt wood stick, so it turned on fire again. Finally, we made only hydrogen gas, and to prove it, we put it inside an SA tube and pointed it to a stick on fire, so it burned quicker. So in conclusion, these tests are the best option because gases are very flammable.
The last reaction we made was sodium hydroxide and the CO2. The result of this reaction was water and sodium hydrogen carbonate, which was precipitated at the bottom of the test tube. I think this practice was very useful because even though we couldn't see the gas that we were using, we could see the reactions, so it was a really useful way to see how the gases affect other compounds.
This practice was very interesting because I can see the effects of carbon, the dioxycarbon, the oxygen, and the hydrogen in contact with different compounds, and the effects of this with the fire.
The practice 12 was one of the most interesting practices that we have made because it was interesting. We have explosions, we have a lot of teamwork, and it was interesting all that we do, and I would like to have another practices like this.